Well, I was about to say, in recent weeks, we've seen disgruntled communities taking to the streets in South Africa to protest numerous concerns, but it's actually not just the recent weeks. It has been the last few years, hasn't it? So it's all the usual, but it's very real to these communities. Service delivery, or actually the lack thereof, people's human rights being violated, and something as simple as a basic right to safe and clean drinking water and access to electricity. For some people, it's still a dream, even to this day. Well, we're now expecting President Ramaphosa to address a conference that's being organised by the SA Human Rights Commission, I understand. Heidi Giokos covering that story for us today. Let's go over to Heidi now to get the latest. And this is exactly what many people would expect from the leader of the country, to come out and talk about situations and their everyday problems that they're having to deal with, Heidi.
Yes, certainly, Gareth. I think this is quite an important day to have President Cyril Ramaphosa come out and truly understand the issues when it comes to local governance. We do know that the ruling party, which is the ANC, which we do see President Cyril Ramaphosa also being the president of that ruling party, losing major metros in the last local government elections. And this has a lot to do with the fact that there are little to no services on the ground. Community members have been protesting for years, and we've seen an increase in that over the last couple of years because community members have very little service delivery. And I think what's important here is to bring in the Human Rights Commission to understand whether or not there is a violation of one's human rights when it comes to basic services such as water, sanitation, electricity, education, healthcare. But we are joined by Commissioner Andre Gaum. Thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it. You are from the Human Rights Commission. I want to speak about the significance of this program. It's a two-day program that looks into local governance and the issues, and I think it's clear as day, the writing is on the wall, that communities are very dissatisfied with the services. And as the Human Rights Commission, what do you have to say about this? What have you assessed?
Too many local governments are simply not working. Service delivery is a systemic problem in our country, and that is why the Human Rights Commission has now stepped in and become directly involved in terms of local government monitoring of service delivery and making sure that we really see a difference taking place. Service delivery is about human rights, and that is why the Commission is specifically involved, and we have an extensive program looking at various aspects of local government monitoring, cooperative governance, for example, audit matters and so on. We had someone from the Auditor General's office here, the head of audit yesterday, as well as the acting public protector. And today we're continuing with the President of the Republic. We're very happy that he is coming to indicate to us how he sees the challenges as far as local government is concerned, and what is the vision of the government to create an ethical and capable and developmental local government system in our country. We want to hear from the President what the tangible solutions are that he's offering, because our conference is not only about identifying the challenges, but also to identify solutions going forward. We will also hear later in the day from the Minister of Environment, Barbara Creasy, about the environmental energy crisis aspects, local government's involvement there. We will also hear from Minister Kubai pertaining to matters relating to service delivery, specifically as far as human settlements, water and sanitation is concerned.
I want to speak about your very close role when it comes to education and your background when it comes to education. And many would say education is in crisis. Just last week I covered a story where the actual school is non-existent. It's been under construction since 2015. Your assessment of education in this country and whether or not there's a huge human rights violation when it comes to the standard and quality of education, but also the infrastructure that's basically collapsing.
Yes, I think there are huge problems in our education system. I mean, one can basically start with looking at the results of our learners when they reach the age of 10, pertaining to literacy and numeracy, and their functional literacy levels, which is very low. That is one of the most important quality problems I think there is. That's also why the Commission has published the Right to Read and Write document in that regard, indicating exactly how to determine also if someone can indeed read for meaning by the age of 10. But infrastructure, you're absolutely right in that regard. There are moves by the national minister to amend the national norms for school infrastructure, to do away with some of the specific timelines in that regard that we see as a big problem, and we have commented to her and objected to doing that. So I think, yes, it's also not really clear how far government has progressed. We've had reports from the Department of Basic Education. The DG gave us a report the other day in terms of water and sanitation in schools and eradicating the pit latrine issue. But still, you know, it is very difficult to really ascertain exactly how big that problem still is, how many schools are still without proper infrastructure, especially as far as the basics are concerned, like water and sanitation, and the Commission is very much looking into that matter. We've announced earlier litigation in that regard. We are still on that route, and we will make further announcements soon in that regard.
Okay, great. Just lastly, Commissioner, I want to know what you are hoping comes out of today. I mean, you have the #1 citizen, the President of South Africa, coming to this particular program to possibly understand further how serious the problem is on the ground, especially when it comes to basic services. What are you hoping to achieve, and do you think anything will really be achieved? Because we've seen conferences, programs like this, and at the end of the day, the people on the ground truly suffer and their rights are constantly violated.
Yes, obviously we want to move towards solutions, but it will obviously take some time. It is about monitoring, but we are giving notice to the nation, to the President, to everyone, that the Human Rights Commission is now getting involved directly in municipal matters. Things can't go on in this way. The service delivery is not what it should be. The people of South Africa expect more, and that is why the Commission is stepping in.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it. We wish you all the best. That is Commissioner Andre Gaum, who is going to be here today and, of course, be welcoming the President. As you heard him say, Gareth, that the Human Rights Commission wants to get directly involved and perhaps put more pressure on our government to say that more needs to be done to provide the basic services when it comes to water, electricity, sanitation, proper education. There are many issues, and many would say that local government is in a complete mess. So hopefully the presence of the President here today will provide that necessary pressure and intervention for those to understand how important it is for every South African to have access to basic services.
No, absolutely. It's 2022. You shouldn't have to protest for basic human rights, like something as simple as water. Heidi Giokos, we'll go back to you again. SAHRC, the President expected to address the Council later today.